This is Channels Television's breaking news.
Granola bars, chips, Oreos. What do all these things have in common? Trans fats. They're everywhere. Trans fats add taste and texture to your food, and they also can increase shelf life to up to 18 months. However, trans fats are responsible for more than 500,000 coronary heart disease-related deaths a year. We're bringing it back to the studio to tell you all about trans fat ban.
Good evening and welcome to McMaster News. I'm your host Ashley and this is my co-host Mahrukh. Tonight is a night for celebration according to many health experts as Canada is moving into a healthier era. Legislation has mandated the elimination of trans fats from our food industry entirely.
Right, so we've known now for almost a decade that trans fat is really bad for our health because it contributes significantly to heart disease, but it was really only about a year ago that the food industry was given a 1 year's notice to completely replace all trans fat, also known as partially hydrogenated oils, by 2018.
So who is this ban affecting?
So this ban basically affects everyone, including restaurant owners, fast food chains, cafes, grocery stores, and also imported goods.
But it may still take another 2 years to phase out trans fat completely.
Yeah, and that's because the food industry may have manufactured certain goods before the ban was introduced, so they've been given a grace period to completely flush it out of their inventory.
This is still very exciting news because researchers at Health Canada are hopeful that this ban might prevent 12,000 heart attacks over the next 20 years. But not everyone agrees with this, with many expressing their concerns over Twitter. Some of these tweets are definitely funny. I know I laughed on the way to work this morning. One user said, "If the trans fat ban in Canada makes my poutine and my Big Macs taste weird, I'll hate Justin Trudeau forever."
Oh my gosh. Another user takes to Twitter and says, "Legalize trans fat. That stuff was delicious." Well, we take it back to Victoria now to get more input about the student voice.
I think that it'll make people healthier and they won't even notice.
Great health initiative. Hopefully it has like long-term benefits.
I think it's great. Sure, why not?
A move in the right direction, but there's still more that needs to be done.
I think it's really beneficial for Canadians.
Let's delve into what makes trans fats so problematic, but before that, we should appreciate what fats are. All fats are made of chemicals known as fatty acids. Fatty acids are made up of long chains of carbon atoms strung together. There are two types of fatty acids: saturated fatty acids, which are usually derived from animal sources, such as lard, and unsaturated fatty acids, which are usually derived from vegetables. Saturated fatty acids have a long and straight structure, which allows them to line up nicely with one another and stack together to form a solid at room temperature. Unsaturated fatty acids, on the other hand, have a kink or bend in their structure that makes it harder for them to pack together to form a solid. For this reason, they are oils at room temperature. The problem is that saturated fats are preferred for cooking because of their solid structure, but because it costs a lot more to raise animals than to grow plants, saturated fats are also more expensive than unsaturated fats. Around the early 1900s, however, this problem was solved as chemists discovered a way to get rid of the bends or kinks in the unsaturated vegetable fats, allowing them to be able to stack together and form a solid at room temperature. These artificial fats came to be known as trans fats, and they quickly became all the rave as they were a much cheaper alternative to animal fats and were more versatile and long-lasting too. This is why they quickly became popular in all levels of the food industry in the form of margarine, shortening, and frying oils. But around the 1980s, doctors quickly became concerned about the impact of trans fat on public health. Concerns about trans fat comes primarily from its effects on cholesterol. Cholesterol is a fatty material that makes up membranes of our cells. The body naturally makes its own cholesterol, which is carried in the body in shuttles or packages known as lipoproteins. Trans fat increases low-density lipoprotein, otherwise known as bad cholesterol. This simply means that there is a high ratio of fat to protein, and it is this high fat that collects in the walls of your blood vessels, forming a plaque, leading to blockage, which ultimately leads to a variety of health problems, including increased risk for heart attack. At the same time, trans fat decreases high-density lipoprotein, otherwise known as good cholesterol, which has a lower ratio of fat to protein. Normally, HDL eliminates cholesterol from the blood vessels by bringing it to the liver to be recycled, but this function of HDL is compromised through trans fat consumption. So basically, trans fat raises bad cholesterol and lowers good cholesterol, explaining why it is so detrimental to our health.
So after all this commotion, people are wondering, why has Canada finally decided to take this step?
Right, so it's because research has consistently shown time time and time again that a consumption of trans fat is directly and strongly correlated with an increased risk in cardiovascular diseases. So we're talking about estimates ranging anywhere from 2.5 to a 10 times increase in risk when you compare it to saturated fats. It has also been linked to several types of inflammatory diseases and even cancer. So it is because of the resounding evidence against trans fat that the World Health Organization has actually called upon countries to completely eliminate trans fat from the public diet by 2022.
And in 2003, Denmark has paved the way by introducing legislation for a national ban, with several European countries and the US since following suit. Researchers observed a sharp and significant decline in cardiovascular-related deaths in Denmark, demonstrating the ban's potential to deliver significant health gains.
Right, so it has to be the success of these policies that has given Canada some confidence to take such a significant step.